Hi all, in this lab, let us deploy the observability stack on top of the existing EKS cluster. Let's get started. This is the previous state where we were. So we had a code deploy pipeline to deploy the infrastructure. Then in the previous lab, we deployed the EKS cluster with some add-ons like EFS, EBS, and Carpenter. And then in this lab, we'll be deploying the observability stack. So the open source Prometheus and Grafana will be deploying inside the cluster, and we'll also deploy the kubecast for monitoring the cost aspects for different applications running in the cluster. Okay, so apart from that, we'll also deploy the fluent bit, which will scrape the logs and send it to CloudWatch. So you can use open source tooling or AWS tooling for observability stack. So in this case, for monitoring, we are using Prometheus and Grafana, and for logging, we are using the fluent bit. Okay, and for cost analysis, kubecast. Let us proceed to the lab. So this is our Terraform TF-vars file. So earlier we configured the add-ons. Now we configure the fluent bit, kube Prometheus stack, and enable Amazon Prometheus false, because we are not using the managed Prometheus service from Amazon. Instead, we are using only the open source tooling, okay, and kubecast also. So after this, we have to uh, provide that configuration to the module using this, right? So this is our module where we deploy the EKS cluster, add-ons, and a lot of other controllers also. So this is um, what we have done earlier. Now we are deploying this. Okay. Now everything is done through the the code pipeline build automation. So we will not be doing any Terraform init plan or apply on the console. Instead, we'll directly push the changes to the GitHub, which will trigger the pipeline. So this is where I will just push the changes to the GitHub, and let us see the pipeline gets triggered. This is the code pipeline. As you see, the source um, stage is triggered now, just now. It is succeeded, and it's proceeding further to the build stage. This is where we'll be deploying the Terraform templates, and the changes what we have done now is to add the observability stack components. Okay, so this may take a while. I'll take a pause on this and come back once the build is completed. Okay, the build is completed. Now what we will do is we will just check the pods for the corresponding add-ons. So first we will look at the AWS uh, for Fluent Bit namespace. So we have this daemon set deployed, and then we will go to the next one, which is the Kube Prometheus stack. This is where the open source Prometheus and Grafana are deployed. So we have these pods running in the cluster. So the Grafana and Prometheus and CubeSet metrics. So this is also running. Then we will get the URL for the Grafana load balancer. So we created the service for the Prometheus stack um, as a load balancer service. So that is the name of the load balancer that we will find using this command. So this is the load balancer URL. So if I go to the browser and type, I've already logged in earlier. So as you can see, different dashboards are already deployed in this. So we can add new dashboards as well by going to new and import and providing the ID. So that is Grafana load balancer. Then we will also, there's a password you can get to the Grafana UI. So I've already entered that. Next, we will look for the kube cost. Kube cost is also deployed in the cluster, and I deployed this as a load balancer service. So we will get the URL of the load balancer directly through this command. So if I go here and so you can see the kube cost is also deployed in the cluster, and we can analyze the cost using this. Next, we will look at the Amazon CloudWatch namespace and look at all the available pods in that particular namespace. So there is one observability controller manager as a deployment, and few daemon sets are also deployed as a part of this add-on. So we will see CloudWatch agent and metric generator, exporter rather, sorry, and Fluent Bit. So all the three are available. Earlier also we saw Fluent Bit, but that Fluent Bit was deployed as a standalone. But this is now deployed as a part of the observability add-on. So if you go to EkS cluster, for example, um, so if you go to EkS cluster and add-ons and filter using the observability, you will see that the CloudWatch observability add-on is added. It's a recent add-on which provides a lot of deep monitoring capabilities at the container level, and the control plane metrics also you can watch using the CloudWatch dashboards. So that is why you see the Fluent Beat and the CloudWatch agent in this particular namespace. So with this, we conclude lab 1.3 to deploy the Grafana and Prometheus, KubeCost, and CloudWatch monitoring tool inside the cluster. So let us proceed further to deploy the next component in the cluster.